Youssef Khayat committed to Michigan. That's a second pronunciation attempt from me in 7 days. And we brought in someone who can teach us exactly how to say the new Michigan Wolverines commit's name. In fact, he knows quite a lot about this Michigan Wolverine commit. That would be Brandon Goble, AKA the man behind JUCO Advocate, and a lot of other very awesome things for college basketball players at all levels across the entire globe. Brandon's actually the first second-time Sleepers guest that I know of. So, Brandon, it's good to have you back, man. You were our first guest for the very first episode of this.
That's awesome.
Brandon, I'm glad you came on again, because I know in our last episode we mentioned that he might be committed to Michigan, and you were upset that you were not a part of the initial.
I was not upset,
and you should have been a part of it. You should have. It's okay. It was Greg's fault. We can blame Greg. You should have been a part of it.
We should blame Greg.
Yeah,
usually
we can blame Greg. So we should have brought you on last week because that's your guy. It's not our guy. 2 weeks ago, I had no idea who this man was. The rumor mill went crazy. Juwan Howard is overseas, and he's targeting Youssef Khayat, who is a Lebanese player playing professionally in France at a very young age and being very productive. I love the tape. That's about all I know. I loved his commitment video today. He's a charming young man. But Brandon, I guess give the people who are listening to this the background on who is this kid and what's your history with the player.
First, two things. The rumor mill was fantastic. Like you guys, I don't know if you started the rumor, who started the rumor. All of a sudden, it was like Juwan Howard's in France, and he saw this kid. You know, it was like something out of Hustle. Like he goes into this gym, and there's just like some dude dunking on people and shooting threes. I'm like, none of that happened. And like, that's not why he was. I mean, maybe he was in France, but it was, for the food, I think. I don't think it definitely was not to see this kid. You guys trying to throw Juwan under the NCAA bus there with a violation, like going and like scouting kids and stuff. And then here's the next thing. All right. So how do you pronounce the team that he played for?
I'm not even going to attempt again.
I want to hear it.
I settled on Limoges.
All right. So we're gonna have a little pronunciation lesson here on his team that he played for and his last name. So apprenons le français. Okay. Yeah. So here we go. The team that he played for, Limoges.
See, okay, I'm mad about that because I took 4 years of French in high school and I thought I had it and I was wrong. So thank you for that. Thank you.
All right, so there's that. Now his last name, you gotta get kind of throaty with it, right? It's Khayat, right? Khayat. Yep.
So it's like the hotel chain, but with a little in it, like
a little. Yeah, you gotta throw that in there. Yeah, Youssef Khayat. Yep. Yeah, it's Arabic. So
right. I especially got to work on it because I'm gonna be pissed when that dude is at the Breslin Center going down these next couple years. But go ahead.
So Youssef is a phenomenal kid, unbelievable kid. So he was playing for Limoges, what they call CSP U21, which for my money is probably it's my favorite, if not the best U21 league in Europe. Right. So while the French top league is maybe not as good as Spain, ACB or something like that, I think that U21 league is kind of the best U21 league. So dude was cooking in that league. My friend Ahmed introduced me to Youssef. He'd known him for a long time from back when he was in Lebanon. And so he said, hey, this kid wants to go to college. Take a look. And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I think we could probably make something happen. So the kid, I mean, I've known him for about a year now. Unreal kid, special talent, has all the work ethic, the drive, desire, like he's not intimidated by anything kind of thing. He's playing for his senior national team, which, Lebanon's not really high on the world stage, but like, this is a bunch of pro dudes that play on that team. Lebanon, there's a lot of dual citizenship guys. So, some of those guys that are on that team are, Lebanese by passport, and play pro all over the world, like grown ass man pro. So now actually he will be the first Lebanese born player to ever play high major basketball. He'll only be the third Lebanese-born player to ever play Division I basketball. Somebody played at Rice for a season like 10 years ago or something, and then Sergio Aldarwich played at Maine a couple years ago. But other than that, you know, Lebanon has not really had much of a basketball culture. So what's super exciting about this is, you know, he's at Michigan now. So he's got this, you know, global brand thing, right? That Lebanon will now attach themselves to. The whole country's going to get behind this kid. I mean, he's literally overnight become a celebrity in Lebanon because they love their sports. They love their athletes, but, you know, very few of them ever have an opportunity at something like this. Actually, this is the first opportunity that anybody has really had on such a massive scale. So it's a little different than kind of your normal recruit, your normal commitment, just from, you know, his background and like what this means to his country standpoint.
So you mentioned you've gotten to know him over the last year or so. From my digging and asking people that are involved in reporting on the recruitment slash just watching tape and reading stats, reading anything I could find on this guy in the last week, it sounds like he has made a major jump as far as production goes in his play in the last calendar year. Like when you first started building a relationship or meeting Youssef to now, like, talk about his rise in his ability and how he's grown as a player.
Yeah, he's one of those kids that even when he wasn't putting up the huge numbers, you know, he was 17 years old, and he's playing with a bunch of 20, 21-year-old men, right? So I think he was 8-9 points a game, maybe something like that in that first year that I saw him. But you could see that it was coming, right? You see the way that he moved, even though he wasn't making threes, you know, he's shooting from the FIBA line when he's 16, 17 years old. You know, that's hard, especially when you don't have any weight on you yet. And he, you know, he's building muscle and all that sort of stuff. That's a long ways to chuck a basketball. So, you know, you could see it though. You could kind of just see that because he was so smart, he had such great feel for the game. So you knew as he got bigger and stronger and all that, because he's up to somewhere between 6'8", 6'8.5" without shoes, is what the national team measured him at. So he's almost 6'10".
So
when he's wearing shoes.
2 inches taller than Jackson Kohler is what he is.
Shut up, Greg.
I'm just wondering. I mean, while we're discussing heights of, you know, teams that add transfers or recruits this late in the cycle, I just figured we'd ask. Okay. Nothing, no worries. Continue.
I was wondering when that was going to come up. Yeah, so he you just kind of could see it coming, and then he just took over this year. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, 16, 17 a game, something like that. You know, there are players that come out of that league that come over here and are very good, that, you know, put up 6-7 points a game in that league. And he's putting up more than double that. And, you know, and he's just so dynamic and things like that as well. But really kind of the biggest thing with him is, yeah, he's tall and he's skilled and he can move and he can do all that sort of thing. But has a lot to do with his character and his work ethic. And those are things that will make him extra successful, make him, you know, really into a Big Ten level player with, you know, a lot of pro upside to him.
Yeah. So the question I have is just because obviously, like Greg, I'm late to Youssef in his game. All I have to go off of is things I've read, things I've seen, you know, as far as film. And you kind of hinted at him making a huge jump this year. And I've kind of seen the discourse as far as him committing is like, he's going to be a guy that comes into Michigan and is basically contributing this year, or does he need, like, you know, kind of time to adjust? Obviously, it's a different level. I mean, you can argue levels of basketball, what's it going to be like, but is he a guy that people should expect to come in right away and make an impact, or is it kind of going to take him some time to adjust and really, you know, kind of make that impact that people might expect him to make?
You know, Michigan's expecting him to come in and be a huge impact guy right away. So
I love it. It's music to my ears. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't disagree. You know, I travel all over the world. I watch players all over the world. I have a lot of good context for what he was doing over there, how that translates over here. For sure, it definitely takes time for any freshman incoming to kind of, you know, figure it out. And there's a little bit of a difference in just the style of play and things. But at the same time, he's been playing against older guys, you know, in the CSP league. So it's not like he's been playing against a bunch of high school kids. You know, he's playing against college age 20, 21, 22-year-old dudes for a while. And then with the national team, of course, he's playing against, you know, 30-year-old pros. He's been shooting from the FIBA line for a long time. He's been handling the ball at a young age, even with size. You know, that's kind of the other thing. Like if you're over here in America and you're 6'7" by the time you're 14 years old, you're standing in the post, you know, the whole time on your high school team. Not over there.
Art. You know all about that.
I just got shivers right there.
Yeah. So he, you know, he's always played that perimeter wing position, even as he was growing. So it's not like he's coming in and they're saying, hey, like, you're not a post in the American game. We need you to really develop your outside game and your ability to attack off the dribble and stuff. He's already been doing that for, you know, since he's been playing. So it's a little different level of preparedness, I think, for him. But, you know, it might take some time, but as soon as it clicks, you know, I think he's pretty special.
So one thing came to mind. This is not applicable to college really at all, but there was a quote from, I think, Luka Doncic last year where somebody asked him, like, is it easier to get 30 in Europe or in the NBA? And he was like, oh, the NBA, easy. And I guess to your point about, like, he's still playing 22-year-old dudes and the game's a little different than college. Like, it's 17 a game with a good number of rebounds and some assists. Like, and I think he shot close to 40% from three on like 5 attempts a game. Like, that's production that is hard to do in Europe. And
right.
I don't care who you are. Like, that's very productive at 19 years old. Obviously we have to wait and see how it translates, but like, you think,
and the game is super physical over there too. And that's
right.
what Doncic was talking about. It's like, you know, in the NBA, you get clipped and, you know, they call a foul and whatever. You get hammered over there and the ref just kind of looks at you, says, keep playing.
Right. And yeah, I mean, not to throw shots at anybody, but I'm thinking of the other guys on Michigan's roster. Like, are you really telling me Kobe Buffkin's going to France and putting up 18 a game right now as a 19-year-old kid? Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to see. But
yeah.
So the lazy comparison here as a Michigan fan is obviously Franz Wagner. I mean, the success from 2 German-born guys come to Michigan, brothers, and have phenomenal individual and team success in their years at Michigan. Moussa Diabate, another kid that just came from France. I'm already starting the international recruiter Juwan Howard agenda here. But I don't, from what I've seen, like, I do think Franz is a very lazy comparison. If you want to compare like the position they'll play in Juwan Howard's system, I think that's fine. But to me, Franz was just so damn cerebral and an impact defender right away. Yeah. To me, I think Youssef has a little more off the dribble at this age, if not a lot more off the dribble at this age than Franz did. I guess I'll give you your opportunity here. Either debunk the Franz comparison or, you know, kind of tell people what to expect as far as playing style goes.
Yeah, like, I love Franz, and Mo and I gotten to know each other a little bit, so I paid a lot of attention to Franz. And yeah, I mean, it's, you know, positionally, sure. Franz had probably a little more post game to him, especially in that mid post, like, attack from that position, just kind of naturally at how his game was. Youssef is probably more of moving towards like a huge scoring guard type player than Franz did. And that might develop into a thing, because really when you go and watch him, the fluidity and the speed and the explosion that he has off the dribble is different. You know, there was a clip, I think I had sent you, that FIBA wouldn't let me post on YouTube from the national team stuff, and right towards the beginning, he exploded past this dude and got to the rim and got up so fast he almost hit his head and just kind of laid it in. And I teased him about it. I'm like, Youssef, why didn't you just dunk that? He's like, well, I didn't realize I was already there. Like he's so fast at that size. And, you know, when somebody finally sees that in person over here, that sees somebody with that kind of length move that quickly, not just in a straight line, but I mean, he's got wiggle to him and everything else as well. Like that's when the player comparison kind of stops. Like Franz is incredibly skilled. You know, he's big dude. Again, cerebral, all that sort of stuff. Has parts of his game that were better than Youssef or different than Youssef. I would say, yeah, Youssef probably off the dribble right now, a lot more explosion to the rim, and athleticism. So,
yeah,
yeah.
For me, I mean, of course, the Franz comparison, like you said, Greg, but for me, this might even be lazy, but I think I might steal this from you, Greg. He did give me some Sam Decker at Wisconsin vibes a little bit. I don't know. Sam was a little more athletic. I don't know. Like I said, you know, when you hear about a guy 3 weeks ago, all you have to go off of is literally YouTube highlights. And, you know, that's the thing. Right now, he looks like an impact guy. And as a Michigan State fan, I'm going to put that hat on because I literally had that hat on. I'm scared of you.
I'm also trying to start John Shawarma here, like shawarma, a Lebanese food. Obviously, John Cherna, a big jumbo guard in the Big Ten. So John Shawarma is what I'm.
John Cherna was a big man, wasn't he?
No, he was like a jumbo guard, I would say. A lot of shots off the dribble at Northwestern. It's a stretch, but you know, we go for.
If he's Cherna, then I'm okay. I'm not scared. I'll let that be known. If he's Cherna, that's fine. I'm not scared.
I'm just excited to see Greg talk about Yo-Yo all the time because that's his nickname, and he's gonna be Yo-Yo this and Yo-Yo that.
Wait, his nickname is Yo-Yo? I didn't know that till just now.
Oh yeah. Carter's gonna be so sick of hearing Yo-Yo.
Like there's Yo-Yo NIL deals, or the possible Yo-Yo night at Chrysler.
Yo Blue. Yo Blue,
come on. I like that.
Okay, I'm cutting it off at Yo Blue. That's not happening.
He also, on his interview with Jeff Goodman today to announce his commitment on the field of 68, he ended his sentence saying he was committing with Go Blues, plural with an S. That's a bestseller instantly. Hey,
it's like his fourth language, all right? You know.
I'm not dissing him for it. The man's a marketing genius. If he puts that on a blue and yellow T-shirt by tomorrow morning, he's made six figures like that. I'm gonna talk to him. We're hoping we can get a quick interview with Yo-Yo himself in the next 24 hours. If we do, that will be tacked on to the end of this interview. If we don't, all you get is Brandon Goble. That's a pretty good consolation prize. My final question for you here before we let you go. So I am going to push my narratives. Obviously, I am going to push my narrative that my coach isn't just attending NBA games and going to the Upper Peninsula this offseason. My coach is going and making phone calls and watching games while on vacation. He's doing his job. He's filling all 13 scholarships. But you said he didn't go to France to get Youssef. This came about in another fashion. How did this come about? Like, I assume you know a little bit here. Like, as far as I know, Youssef was leaning Maryland prior to Mark Turgeon leaving. How did Michigan get involved in this recruitment at the 11th hour?
Yeah, so it kind of came down to those final four, but everybody, for the most part, showed up a little bit after. DePaul was really the first one. You know, DePaul had recruited him hard all season. They did a great job. Stubblefield, Steve Thomas did a really, really good job with him. And unfortunately, like, it was hard. He couldn't come on a visit because getting a visitor's visa was impossible. And so, you know, he'd been leaning towards Maryland early. Matt Brady had done the recruitment, had gone to France and seen him. And then Turge left. You know, DePaul, again, he wasn't able to come on a visit. And so when it kind of kept going, because of, you know, being unable to visit and stuff, Xavier got in there. And they did a great job with it too. They did a really good job. Adam Cohen and David Miller are studs over there. And so then all of a sudden when Musa decided to stay in the draft, you know, Michigan went out looking, and I think they saw a video, or somebody else had told Jay that we were connected to this kid, and so he reached out, and then just put him in touch. And I mean, Juwan and Jay did all the recruitment. Every call, every Zoom, everything was Juwan. It was him from the drop. There were days that they would talk 3-4 times a day. And so Juwan was like 2 feet in all day from the drop, with Youssef. And so, and, early on in the process, when I met him and I said, hey, who do you want me to reach out to? Who are your dream schools? Michigan, was one of his 3 dream schools.
Wow.
And so, they didn't have an opportunity at the time because they didn't know what they were going to lose to the draft. And so it all just kind of culminated in a very, very short period of time. So
he's such a fan favorite already. I can tell. I mean,
I wish he was exposed to better schools, because Michigan shouldn't be your dream school. That's an okay one, but it's
Right. All right, rapid fire to end this. Over under 20.5 minutes a game next season for Youssef.
Over.
Wow, I like it. I think the best version of Michigan. I think that's 100% true.
Yeah, so I think he's a 25-minute a night guy.
I love it. I'm rooting for it. All right, that was Brandon Goble, JUCO Advocate. Thank you so much for joining us, giving us the lowdown on Youssef Khayat. Did I get that right?
Khayat.
Right.
Go.
We appreciate you, Brandon. Good talking to you.
All right, guys. Be good.